Doop, 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 doop. Hello, everybody. Welcome and welcome back. And I am going through the, what's really cool about this. Jeremy and I just finished off. We had a VIP session with some of our inner circle group. We just finished up about 48 seconds ago, and here we are again. And I'm already seeing some familiar faces on here. I absolutely love it. So do me a flavor. And what I always like to do, and Jeremy will be on here in just a moment. He's preparing a few notes for us, but let me know where you're zooming in from or go to webinaring in from, city, state, give me a shout. Let me know that you're here. Tony from Philly, and we will crank this off in a minute. We have an exciting night tonight. We're gonna try to keep this between 45 and 55 minutes. That's where we like to be, that way so you can plan for it. We do these every single week, and this is for new and intermediate investors. Our VIP sessions are typically for more advanced level investors, but if you have any questions regarding real estate, no matter what the topic is, please let us know. For those of you that are a little newer to GoToWebinar, some of you can control your chat box. Some of you have questions area. So it's just easier if you go to the questions block and make comments or ask questions. So if everybody could go to the questions block, give me a shout out, let me know that you're here. That way I know that you got it going. Oh, Robert, how you doing from Alaska? That is, so what is it in Alaska right now? Let's see. It's 2000 here, so let me see. Are you 6 hours difference, Robert? What time is it over in Alaska? Great, welcome everybody. Everyone else popping in, that's fantastic. 4 p.m. Okay, all right, awesome. 8 p.m. My time, perfect. Welcome. I'm glad. What's the real estate market over there right now, Robert? Probably a little bizarre like it is everywhere else. There's a lot going on. We're going to talk about wholesaling tonight. Before we jump on that topic though, I want to just tell you that, I hear a lot about inventory right now. Inventory is always something that obviously we want to know about, right? We want to be aware of, we want to be smart on, we want to know where to go, where to get the deals. But don't confuse turnkey inventory for just regular property inventory, right? Because turnkey inventory is where you grab your keys. I was going to grab my key out, put it in the door, open the door, and everything is done, right? No rehab, no renovation, none of that. You're just ready to go. That's a turnkey property, okay? And the reason why I mention that is because there's a lot of discussion about can't find deals right now, and a lot of people that are saying can't find deals right now or paying a premium plus for deals are those people looking for a turnkey property. Those are people that are buying a home to live in, right? We're looking for dilapidated, distressed, vacant properties that we can still find great deals on, okay? And there's well over 1 million properties on the market right now that is in that condition, okay? Has the market tightened up? Yes. Will the market loosen up? Yes. When is that going to be? Don't know, okay? Nobody knows right now, but as we were just discussing over on our last webinar, that's the thing. You're not always going to know everything, right? If everybody knew when that was going to happen, right? Just think about that for a minute. If people knew that there was going to be this pandemic that happened, wow, you would be a gazillionaire right now, right? Because you'd be able to go in different ways. And I'm not lightening the load on obviously the devastation that's occurred and everything else, but as investors, what we look at is opportunity. And here we have an opportunity, right? You never take an advantage of a person, never take advantage of people, always take advantage of a good opportunity. And right now, where we sit is a great opportunity. And the reason why is because there's a lot of people that tried to get into real estate that didn't know what the heck they're doing, right? That didn't do so well before and is really trying to dive into this and dig into this right now, which brings us to my point. We are here to answer questions about whatever real estate strategy you want to talk about. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on wholesaling. And the reason why is because a lot of you that are on here right now are beginners. So welcome, everybody. My name's Tony. If I haven't mentioned that yet, my name's Tony Rosenbum. My partner that just popped in, he'll pop back on here in a minute. His name is Jeremy Isles, and we train students, clients in real estate investing. I am not a realtor. I am not a contractor. I'm not a home inspector. I'm not an appraiser. I never have been. I never say that I never will be. I may have said that before, but I try not to do that because you just never know, right? Sometimes there's a great opportunity to learn a different angle of the trade, and it just may make sense. But I have never done that. One of our other coaches, his name is Carlos. He is a realtor. Jeremy's wife is a realtor. So I'm not saying don't become a realtor. I am not saying don't be a contractor. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is you don't have to be. Does it help? It certainly could, depending on kind of what lens you're looking at it. But I can tell you this, we have a lot of students that are from the business, that are contractors, that are realtors, and they want to be on the other side of it. They want to be on the investment side of it. And then we have a majority of our students that are like Jeremy and myself, which had no background in real estate. I was a United States Marine for a little over 20 years, and that's what I did. And then I got into real estate. I knew nothing about real estate. I went through an introductory course, as Jeremy did, and that started me on my path. For those of you that are out here right now that's never been through any kind of training, whether it's in person or virtual, welcome aboard. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're here. You are here. And what we want to do is, if you have any questions, don't wait to the end, okay? Start populating them. We may not answer them right away, but we're going to try to get through, depending on how many there is. We're usually pretty good about this, so we monitor them as we're going through it. We have about, I don't know, Jeremy, 15, 20 minutes that we're going to be talking about specifically on wholesaling. Then we're going to go right into what we're doing now, which it's kind of like open mic for us. And what we like to do is keep it very casual, but and very professional as well, right? Like, we really have fun doing what we're doing, and we'll be professional on answers and very courteous to you. And if you have a question and you think, I don't want to ask it because it's just dumb, ask the question. Have you ever heard the phrase that there are no dumb questions? Right? Well, believe me, there are, but I want you to ask them anyway, because if it's important to you, we want to answer. And quite frankly, I tell you, if you have that question, probably another 30, 50 people have that question as well. So here is my dude. His name is Mr. Jeremy Isles. Him and I have been partners in real estate. We've been training students for over 10 years, Jeremy, ish, right? About 10 years. And we've coached and trained thousands of students over the years. We've done a bunch of training one-on-one. Mr. Jeremy Isles, if I can just brag on him for a bit, he's absolutely brilliant in the area of wholesaling, advanced wholesaling, brick and mortar fix and flips, cash flow property. He just did a cash flow class recently, and I try to attend as much as I can. Him and I have a couple different roles in the organization. So I'm busy, he's busy, we do different things, but every single time that Jeremy teaches a class, especially one of our advanced classes, I try to be on as often and as much as I can, because even though I flipped in multiple states over the years and I've done deals and I've put deals together for people and link people up, I tell you, I always gain more and more every single time I listen to Jeremy. So, Mr. Jeremy Isles, let me pass it on over to you. How are you doing today, my purple friend?
Doing great, Captain America. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
It's funny, I wanted to say to you, when we were doing our last webinar and I mentioned your purple shirt, somebody said, it looks blue. And now, do you remember when there was this crazy thing? You and I do business on Facebook, and we do advertising, and probably, I don't know, 75% of the people on here probably saw one of our ads or something. Do you remember a long time ago where there was this dress? What color is it? Did you see this? It's like, is it gold or is it blue or something? And for me, when I looked at it, I'm like, it's gold. 100%, no doubt, it's gold, right? And then there was these other people, and it was like 50, oh, that's blue, whatever. I don't remember the colors, but I'm calling your shirt purple. What say you? What is it?
It is purple. Yes, you nailed it. So purple, the lighting sometimes may, right, more bright over on this side, but yes, purple shirt.
Maybe it's those blue eyes of yours bouncing off the Hi-O blue logo that's bringing it in. I don't know.
That's it. That's it exactly. I'll get closer so the eyes, they can see it. No. Like, no. Yeah, blurry. Make the camera more blurry. Come on.
Oh, man. And by the way, because I was hazed on our last one, I'm gonna have to get one of those high. Did you hear that conversation about my camera?
I
right.
Did.
So you know what I'm doing when we're done, right?
That's what I was referring to. Also, yes, Tony's camera. I don't know if he cleaned it or what, but it's a little blurry there. And so, but one thing, look at Tony's color. He's been getting out in the sun, and he does that really well up in Montana. We don't have as much of that right now, but looking forward to it. Today
was probably the best day we've had in a long time. And you know how you're planning, and I'm either working outside or working inside right now, getting things organized. You know what's going on, Jeremy. So today was an outside day, and boy, I got blasted. But let's talk about some real estate. I know you have some good stuff for us on wholesaling, and I'm going to pass it over to you if you're ready, my man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Robert. I see Robert's on here too. Welcome all the way from Anchorage, Alaska. Yeah, love it. So glad you made it, able to join us. So Tony, I'll share screen and I'll jump in and we'll go through it. And if there's questions or you want to chime in at any time, please do, my friend.
Okay, I'm going to go dark on you for a minute, and then I'll jump back in when you're done with your piece, man.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to share screen and go. So, Tony, you can see my screen okay, I'm assuming?
I can.
Okay, great. Let me adjust a couple things here. So wholesaling, why we should do it. I don't care where you're at in real estate. I still think people, I don't care what your background is. If you just want to fix and flip, you want to buy cash flows, I still think wholesaling is a good avenue because there's going to be some deals once in a while that maybe you don't want to take, but you can still make money on it. So wholesaling is something that I think everyone should be doing or be a part of. And I used it before to manage my inventory. If I got too much on my plate, I can wholesale it off. I helped a student recently just within the last month, and she had a deal, and it was a fourplex, and it was going to be needing so much work, and it wasn't going to work for her. But what did she do? She was able to wholesale it because somebody else wanted to take that and wanted to tackle that project in New Orleans, and she was up in Baltimore, so she was able to do that deal and wholesale it and get paid $5 grand. Well, what was her option? She could have just backed out of the deal and said, nope, I'm not going to do that. But now she has $5 grand in her pocket because of it. So how would that help you? Just get an extra $5 grand in on a deal that maybe wasn't going to work for you. So you see why you should do wholesaling or be aware of it and ready to go. So what is real estate wholesaling? It's finding a motivated seller, right? Distressed property, motivated seller, putting it under contract. And then we assign the contract to the new potential buyer. So, right, so we got to be able to control it. It's called an equitable interest. So we got to have equitable interest. So we have control of the property. That's important because if we don't have control of it and you're trying to wholesale it, that is illegal to do. You need to get it under contract. If not, you need to have a real estate license and be a real estate agent because that's what agents do. So what do? You put it under contract, that's step 2, and then we assign it to the new potential buyer. Right, so if Tony's the new potential buyer, I would assign it over to Tony and then change the new buyer or charge the new buyer a wholesale fee. And if I'm buying it for $100,000 and I'm wholesaling it for a $5,000 fee or for $105, right? Because they got to pay the $100,000 for the property and then $5,000 for my fee. And that's your steps. That's your quick, easy steps on wholesaling a deal. Now let's break it down a little further though. Here's a traditional wholesale, then I'm going to do the reverse engineering, the reverse wholesale that we like to do. So a traditional wholesale is this. You find a property, right? The distressed, dilapidated property, a property that needs work. It can be a cash flow property. It could be a fix and flip property. It just needs to be a property that there's way to add value to it because you're going to wholesale it. And then you make an offer, right? So you find a property, make an offer. Then once we have our offer accepted, we need to get some GC bids, right? GC, general contractor, for those that are newer on here. So now we get contractor bids, so we know what our rehab's going to be. So if we bought it for 100 and rehab's 40, or we have it under contract, I should say, for 100, because we're not buying the deal. When you wholesale a deal, you don't buy it. Not the traditional wholesale way. There is this double closing avenue, which I don't want to get into because it's a little more complicated right now. We'll keep it simple. So you get it under contract for 100, and the rehab, you get your GC bids, and it's at 140. So right, so you need really 140,000 so far, and then we build a buyer's list, because who wants to buy this property? You need people like Tony, like myself, that will want to buy these wholesale deals, and then you market to the buyers and you get paid. So they say, oh, you got this deal for, you have it under contract for 100, but let's say 105 because you want the 5,000 wholesale fee, and rehab's 40, so there's 145. But what if it's worth $200,000 once it's fixed up? Yeah, that's potentially a really good deal. Why would somebody not want to take that? And you may say, please question me on this and say, well, Jeremy, why don't you just flip it yourself? I could, yep, and I like that. But what if your plate's too full? What if you're leaving the country? What if Landon's on here? One of our big shout out to him. He's in the military. What if he's getting deployed? And he's like, oh, let me just wholesale this and make it quick money and not tackle this project or whatever. Maybe it's in a market you don't really know much on, so you want to just wholesale it and make a quick buck. Maybe you need to make quick money. Do you guys understand that there's 1,000 different reasons? And then repeat the process. That's the traditional way of wholesaling a property. Now, how we like to do it and what we like to teach is reverse wholesaling. And reverse wholesaling is this. We start with kind of the end in mind. We build our buyer's list first. So build a buyer's list first. And what are the buyers? People like Tony, myself, all these investors all across the US that want to find properties. And are you solving a need? And remember that, I love that, make it easier for other people. Well, how do you make it easier for other people? Well, what if you came to them with a property and I say gift wrapped, right? So here it is, here's the property. And so, but what we're gonna do before we get a property is let's ask the buyers what they want, our potential buyers. And so we teach you how to build a buyer's list. So everyone should be working on building a buyer's list. So whenever you have a property and you need to wholesale it off, you can do it like that. And what I love about building the buyer's list first is this. A big reason is we know what they want now. What if you're trying to find cash flow properties, but your buyers all want fix and flip properties? Okay, see how that would be, kind of you're gonna have a hard time. So what if your buyers want X amount of spread in it, X amount of cash flow? You wanna know what those are. So those are some of your steps you're gonna wanna do first of all on reverse wholesaling. And then you find the property because you already know what the demand is, right? You see that? So find build your buyer's list. And you know what too, that's gonna save you a lot of stress later on, because whenever you're in your 10-day window or whatever it is to kind of wholesale it, you have it under contract. Isn't it nice to already have all these buyers in your back pocket ready to go? So you don't have to do all those steps. And now you find the property, make an offer, right? You get an offer accepted, and see how we're kind of going backwards a little further, right? So instead of step 3 last time was get GC bids, now it's step 4, get GC bids, right? Because we still need to know what the rehab's going to be. And then you market to your buyers and get money. The thing is, we already have our buyers list. We already have them. And so it's first come, first serve, highest and best. And you can shop it out to several different buyers and say, see what they want to pay for it. Because if it's worth, you want to get 105 for it, but maybe somebody's willing to offer 107. So now you made $7,000 on a wholesale fee, or 10,000 or 15,000. And whenever you have your buyer's list, it's going to save you a copious amount of time, because the big reason is this. Whenever you're dealing with brand new people or seasoned investors, how fast can they close on it? How fast can seasoned investors make up their mind on a property? Right? And I've had other people that say, oh, you want to market, there's this guru out there and he goes, oh, you want to market to brand new buyers. and I kind of take advantage of them because they don't know what they're doing, and they'll pay more for it. Well, sure, you can. The problem is all those new buyers, are they going to be able to close in time when you're a window? Are they going to be able to follow through with it? And you're going to waste so much time doing that. And that's what many of us did back years ago. Whenever we got into this, we didn't know better, so we tried to market, and we wasted a lot of time with new buyers. And we realized, it took me 7 years to realize this, but by building a buyer's list first, finding those rock solid buyers, man, you can wholesale that deal in a blink of an eye and save a ton of time, headaches, and you get paid. Yeah, nice and simple. So that's reverse wholesaling. You guys see the big difference between those two and why I love this one? Good, Mark, I'm glad you made it on here, my friend. Good you joined us. Shout out to Mark on here. I wanted to give him a shout out. He proactively found me through a Lineable. Is that right, a Lineable? Yeah. And reached out to me and proactively called me and said, Jeremy, thanks for doing this, and invited him on here. And so all the way from, I forget if you're in New Hampshire or somewhere back east. So why wholesaling? Why would anybody wholesale properties? So let me move some of my slides here around so I can see a little easier. Well, the first reason, it's minimal or no cash needed. When people start, a lot of times when I started off, I didn't have any funds to get started. My credit score was low, so wholesaling would have been a great option for me. You can still fix and flip with no money and still buy cash flow properties with no money. You just need to know the steps, and you need to really hustle, for lack of a better word. But how great is that on wholesaling? Minimal or no cash needed. And it's one of the lowest risk investments you'll make because you're not closing on the house. Remember, you're just getting it under contract. You have to have equitable interest. So important to know. Number two, it's the quickest strategy to make money. There's not any other strategy that I believe, I'm trying to think of anything. Tax liens, potentially, but this is generally known as the quickest way to make money out of any investment strategy there is, wholesaling properties. And when I say wholesale, we're talking about residential properties, but could you wholesale commercial properties? Absolutely, right? You can wholesale any type of properties, any of those things, as long as there's a spread in it, as long as there's you're fulfilling a need, aren't you? Right, so providing them with a good property. And what a great way to get started. So it's one of the quickest strategies to make money, and why so many people love it is if you're starting something new, sometimes it can be scary. We fear the unknown in life. And I don't care who you are, that's pretty common. We fear the unknown, what we don't know. I'm more afraid of being in the ocean than I am in the outdoors. Why? Well, I've spent so much more time in the outdoors than I have in the ocean. So again, I would be a lot more afraid in the ocean because of unknown. Well, if you want to get started in real estate and fear is kind of holding you back sometimes, what a great way to cut your teeth, right? Get started, learn the ropes just by wholesaling, because the risk, that's the lowest risk. Number three, potentially the highest return on investment of time and money. It potentially can be because you're in and out of it. You can get paid in as quickly as a few days. Literally as quickly as a few days. You get it under contract, and as soon as you kind of put some numbers together and you market it to your buyers, first come, first serve, you can get paid in truly a few days, that fast. But again, you got to find the deal. That's usually what takes some time. You're trying to find the right deal. When you're new, guess what? You're going to get a property under contract and realize, oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, well, that's going to happen. That's not bad. Let me tell you, Tony and I will high five you on that, because you're taking action. You're doing steps versus just sitting back on the sidelines, not doing anything. You learn by doing, not just by listening. You got to take action. But you can get some of those quick returns, because there's a house I had under contract. I wholesaled, and I probably put, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours into it, made $10,000. Well, if I put 5 hours into that, let's say, and I made $10,000, that's $2,000 an hour. That can potentially be my highest return on investment, even beat out a fix and flip. Now, fix and flips, I make more money on them, right? I make $80,000, $40,000, $25,000 on a fix and flip, but how many hours did I put into it, right? So you see, this could be potentially the highest return of time and money. And you're saying money, well, what money are you putting into it? And that's why I said there's not really much money. You might put earnest money down, or you might pay for an inspection appraisal. So that's why money's in parentheses there, or quotation marks. You do not have to manage contractors. You're not having to pay them out every week, because you're never closing on the house. You get some contractor bids. So yes, you want to have them go out to the property, kind of give you a scope of work, a bid, or you put together a scope of work, hopefully, but get their bids back so you can use that in your package whenever you're ready to wholesale the deal. And how great is this? You can do this remotely. Now, you can do this across the nation. That student I shared with you earlier that made $5,000 on that wholesale deal, she was in Baltimore, that was in New Orleans. She never saw the property. You don't have to. So you can wholesale, and you can find them off market, on market. Is it harder to find them on market? Yes, but do we still find them on market? Absolutely. Are there motivated sellers? And the answer is yes, there always will be, always has been. There's at times there's a heck of a lot more motivated sellers when the bubble hit back in 08, right? If the bubble hits again, guess what? There's gonna be a lot more motivated sellers, so we can find a lot more deals. What about natural disasters? Hurricanes coming in, hail damage, flooding, you name it, storms. Those come in. What happens? People need to get rid of the properties, or they get the insurance check and leave. So there's always ways to make money on these deals. So what are the cons of wholesaling? And yes, I wanted to share the cons with you. And this is important for you guys to know too. And if somebody asks you about the negatives on it, I did some research recently, and the data said that people are more apt to like your deal if you share with them the cons of the deal. And I just learned this yesterday, that it's actually better to let them know, because if not, they think you're just trying to sell them on your deal. Well, what's the negatives of this property? Well, it does need a full rehab. You're going to have to add another bathroom. Do you see, by not being afraid of it, you kind of take away their leverage to say, hey, I don't want to buy your wholesale deal. But let me tell you the cons of wholesaling too, just so, again, to be 100% transparent, I like to weigh out the pros and cons of every house, every situation, every hard money lender, every contractor. Let's put it on the table. Talk about the elephant in the room. You may have difficulty finding buyers in the time needed. Now, if you did reverse wholesaling and the way we taught you, hopefully you already have your buyers list built. So if you have 10-day window from it being under contract to your 10 days inspection period, and you really want to wholesale in that time and be in and out of the deal and get paid in that 10-day window. Well, what happens if you took time and your work was busy and you weren't feeling well and you wasted a few days? Well, now you're in a 7-day window, and then you kind of slowly went through stuff, and now you ate up a lot of your time. You can run out of time. That's 100% can happen. And let me tell you, if you don't stay on top of it and have a good system, you will run out of time if you don't do some of these tips and tricks that we're telling you to do to mitigate it. Wholesaling can have a negative stigma. Some realtors are like, wait a second, you're kind of doing what I'm doing. And it's like, no, we're putting it under contract, and we're putting all this value into it, putting the work together of ARV and right, the after repair value, coming up with the rehab, the scope of work with the contractors. So we're doing a lot of things different, but if you don't know this, you need to know this. Some realtors don't like wholesalers. So I don't usually tell them I'm wholesaling it, even if I am, not that I want to lie to them or anything. Here's why: it has a negative stigma, and here's how I word it. And because again, it's just, what do they call it? A euphemism. And that is, I'm going to hand it off to one of my partners. Do you guys see that? Instead of saying, am I going to wholesale it? And the realtor's like, oh, great, I don't want to work with you, Monica, because you're going to wholesale the deal. I don't want to work with you, Mark and, Steve and, all of you guys on here, Tyrell, right? You guys can say, the realtor may roll their eyes if you tell them you're wholesaling the deal. Because whenever you hand it off to someone else, they have a relationship with you, not this other person you handed it off to. So what I tell them is, if they ask me about wholesaling, it's like, if I don't close on the deal, right? If it's a deal maybe I don't want, or my plate's too full, I will see if one of my partners wants to buy it. See how I worded that? And now it makes the realtor feel like, oh, well, as long as I get my commission, right, is what the realtor really cares about. As long as they get their commission. So be careful, and I want you to be aware of that. It can have a negative stigma depending on how you word it. And then potentially the least profit. Out of a lot of the real estate investing strategies, you can make a low on this one, a couple $1,000s, yep, 10,000. What's the most I've seen somebody make on a residential property? I had a friend who made $100,000 on one. I had a friend make 72,000, 73,000 on one. The most I've made is 10,000. There's one I was trying to make 50,000 on. Didn't pan out, but I was working that one. So yeah, you make some larger sums, but most of the time you're making smaller amounts. So what do most people do as they grow their business? They want to make larger sums, right? Do you want to make more money or less money? Right? You don't even have to ask that question, do you? No. Yeah, wholesale a sixplex. Yeah, you can do that. Oh, you did that, Robert. Awesome. Yeah, wholesale the sixplex. I remember you mentioning that. Yes. Yeah, that's anything over 4 units is considered commercial. So absolutely, you can wholesale a sixplex for sure. I love it. Yep. And again, you can do this remotely. Yep. Those of you that like to be hands-on, sometimes wholesaling, that could be right up your alley. If you can wholesale in your own backyard and you have the gift of gab and you want to go out and meet that and you have time to do those things, great, you can. Yep. But I want to throw out the cons too, just to be transparent so you see them all and you can decide. So back to just recap here before I kind of wrap this up. Make offers. Right, well, build your buyer's list, but here's kind of the overview of it. So once you start build your buyer's list, let's make your offers. Get your offers out there, get it in front of people. If you're not making offers, evaluating deals, you have nothing to wholesale, do you? So then once we get it under contract, offer it to our potential investors, right? You know, assign the contract and get paid. So a different version of it, because remember, obviously we need our contractor bids, but just to kind of, I like to show you different angles, different views, explain it to you differently so it really sinks in. Here's what I got to do. Is it hard to wholesale a deal? Nope. Do you have to stay on top of it? Absolutely. You must stay on top of it. You need to stay on top of it. And last, a couple things here, a couple more slides before I wrap up here. See through the eyes of your buyer. If you're trying to wholesale a deal, one smart thing that's always good is to put yourself in the other person's shoes. The last webinar that we taught right before this one, Tony and I were talking about, and that is solve other people's problems. Yep, solve their problems. And how do we solve their problems? Well, put yourself in their shoes. What do they want? They want more deals. They want good deals. What do I want now? I want more deals, better deals, good deals. Am I open to different types of deals? Absolutely, 100%. But you got to know what your buyers want. And then next week, we're going to be talking about, so we talked about wholesaling this week. We're going to tie into fix and flip and how these two tie together and mesh really good. We're going to talk about that next week. And there we go. That's and we'll continue these each week, and any topics too that you guys want, please let us know. We love feedback. We crave feedback, just like, and again, in our last thing, I told our all the class to all the realtors, give them feedback. They don't know what you're thinking. Now, and you'd be foolish to make that assumption. So give them the feedback. Just like if you're, Tony, if our wives are mad at us, don't we want to at least know why? So, yeah, Tony's like, no. Yeah.
Jeremy, I have never, ever, out of all the years that I've known you, have you given a poor example. That was a horrible example. I don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't want to know. And then you keep doing it again and again and again, right? If they go, I'm fine, Tony, you're in trouble, right?
Well, yeah. That happened to me recently. Have you been talking to Lori? I mean, what you guys been talking?
Yes.
Jeremy, I love it. And you know what's really interesting too is when you were going through that, you know, people always say, some people are really, really interested in wholesaling because, again, not to repeat what Jeremy said, but it's always great for repetition. It's quick, right? Is there work to be done? Yes. Do you need to know what to do and how to do it? Yes. You know, but when you get those reps in, it can be something very advantageous. And I'll have people coming up. Jeremy and I get this quite a bit with students that are coming in that's only flipped, and they're like, what is this wholesale thing? How does it work? And, you know, I don't really want to do that. And whether you're starting out or, you know, you've been doing this for a while, you should know how it works, because you never want to bite off more than you could chew as you're making offers. And, you know, it's happened more times than you could imagine when people are getting really aggressive with their real estate and going, I'm making offers. And once again, you don't make money unless you make offers, like Jeremy mentioned. But let's say you make 15, 20 offers and you get 3 accepted, and all 3 of them are deals, right? What do? Most investors even at the intermediate stage, have a really hard time balancing 3 flips at once. Jeremy did a bunch at once before. I've done a number of them at once before, and I tell you, it's a lot. Can you do it? Certainly. Can you do it well? That may be a different thing, right? Because you don't want to be overwhelmed with that project and then have any one of those projects drop for any reason because you don't have enough oomph to put in that deal. So when you look at wholesaling a different way, even if you are currently doing brick and mortar fix and flips, that's a great way to go. Okay, you know what? I could make 40 on this deal, but I'll take 5 and set it up all day long. Right? Because guess what people are looking for? Deals. Guess what else people are looking for? To make more money, right? So this is just another, bullet in your pouch and your ammo pouch ready to go and have at the ready for you. For those of you that are brand new, this can be scary. It's going to be scary for everybody that's brand new. It could be a bit nerve-wracking, right? And as Jeremy went through this, Jeremy's done this a bunch. I've done this a bunch. My last wholesale deal was in Michigan, and it was a $10,000 deal. In, out, boom. I didn't do anything to the property other than get it under contract, turn it over. So this is a really good strategy. It does take some time. It does take some effort to learn it. But once you learn it and commit to it, there's some great rewards here. Okay, either side, whether you're beginning or you're on this intermediary piece in your real estate investing, it's really nice to know. And I seen that comment as well from Robert, that wholesale to sixplex. Fantastic. That's the other cool thing about this. Could be a condo, could be a single family home, could be a duplex. In Robert's case from Alaska, could be a sixplex. Good for you, by the way, Robert. That's awesome. So when Jeremy was going through this, I always know, because we've done this a few times, that people do get, it just seems like a lot, and it can be. Stay tuned, keep asking questions, make sure you're plugging in with us. We have a number of people on here, and there are some questions that we're going to go over now. But a majority, when you look at the percentage of people that are on here compared to the questions, it seems really low. So, and I always say that because I always think it's low, but I want you all to ask questions because you're on here for a reason. So there's probably something that you're wondering, unless Jeremy did such a fantastic job hitting it in that 20-minute piece there, but there's probably some questions. So if you have some, fire away. Jeremy, I'm going to send you your first question right now. You ready? And this is specific to you.
If I may beforehand, I want to copy and add one thing, and then I did get a text on a question too. So instead of typing them in, they sent me a text on it, which that's fine to do. If you're not able to type in the question box or something on your phone or something, please, that's fine too. I don't mind. But I wanted to, when Tony said about getting 3 accepted, this last week or two, we had a student of ours in our mastermind group, Jose, got, I think, 1 accepted in Akron, Ohio, and 2 in Cleveland. So he had 3 accepted. And you know what? His thoughts were like, oh crap, right? I got 3. And he just today when I was talking with him, you know what he said too? He goes, I may get multiples accepted again because once you start dialing it in, yeah, you're gonna start getting offers more and more. Success attracts more success. You learn what your buyers want, you learn your markets better, and it gets easier and easier to hit your target, right, Tony? In the shooting range, it gets easier and easier as you do it.
Think of it as a bullseye, right? To use your metaphor, when you're looking at a target, anything outside of the 5 ring is a miss. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then of course you have your bullseye. Nobody here is going to hit a bullseye on their first 1, 2, 3 deals, but you are going to get closer and closer, right? And you can use, you can think of baseball. A lot of people use it as first base, second base, third base, home run. What we want you to do is get on first base. Swing the bat first, right? Get up there, have a courage and swing the bat. We don't want you to do it recklessly. And, if you're brand new to this and this is your first experience in real estate learning, you're not going to go out and try to flip a deal tonight. So there's some things that you want to do. Stay tuned. We're going to come back next week. As Jeremy mentioned, we're going to transition from wholesaling over to a brick and mortar fix and flip. Then we're going to go from there over to cash flow. And then we're also going to talk about in the subsequent weeks is how they overlap, how a lot of these, a majority of the pieces intertwine. And, because a lot of people get worked up about these different strategies when there's almost like a handoff, right? Jeremy, you're going to get to a certain point that has a baseline for all these deals, and then they kind of branch off in a little bit different direction, but there's so many fundamentals that apply to all these different strategies on the residential side that we're talking about. Jeremy, I know you were making a comment, but there was a question as well.
Yeah, do you want me to answer that one first?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, then I'll hit you with this other piece here. This one's kind of basic, so no worries.
Okay. Yeah. And then Mark asked a good way to start growing a buyer's list in my area. What's one way of doing that? So great question, Mark. And anybody that's building a buyer's list in your area, I would, it depends on how open your area is. And what I mean by that, if you can go to real estate meetups, and most markets across the US have local investor groups, meetup groups. Well, think about that. Who goes to real estate investor groups? What does the name say, right? Real estate investors. So that's a great resource. The other way that we've been doing it over the last year more than ever, and that has been some of the Facebook groups. So our group, our Facebook group, we have a private group, we have a regular page too, and our private one. We have, there's how many Facebook groups across the US? Yep, so find one in that local market. If it's Orlando, right, you can do it in Orlando. But join those. Great ways to build a buyer's list, find out what they're looking for. You can do it pretty easily.
Yeah, really good point. And one thing that I also want to say, as Jeremy was going through talking about different groups, we're really, really confident in what we do and how we do it. Number one, we don't have a mentality that, oh my gosh, everybody needs to be trained by us, and we're not trying to train the world, right? We would like to do our part to change some financial futures and outlooks for people in the world, but we're not trying to do it all. And we don't have this mentality, once again, that we need to train everybody. So we encourage you to seek out information, but I want to say that with a little bit of warning shot too, because it can be very confusing, and you can hear a similar strategy session, and it can be a little bit different. For example, Jeremy was just talking about wholesaling, and we do reverse wholesaling because it makes more sense to us. You get more deals done. You're going to have a better response. You're not going to burn out people, and for me, it just makes more sense from a process, procedure, mechanical, logistics standpoint, and just from the money part. Quite frankly, it makes more sense. So you may hear other people talking about it for whatever reason. Maybe that's all they know, or maybe that's what their program is, and they've had the success there. But it can be very confusing out there in Google land and Facebook land and YouTube land. So, and I say that because I don't want you to not go out there and seek additional information. If you want more information from us, look at you, Jeremy. That's awesome. It's like I did that. I didn't. But if you want more information that's funny that you did that. That cracks me up. Right? If you do want some more information from us because you're new and you don't know how to get started, give us a shout. You can leave a voicemail message on the number there, the 833 number, and just send a message in our general mailbox, or you can send us an email. And of course, one Facebook, Instagram. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can get in touch with us. Let us know where you are, what you're looking for. And sometimes people don't know. I mean, you know where you are, but you don't know what you're looking for. And that's a big piece that I think our students always love is, that direction, right? The guidance, and knowing where to go and what to do next, because it can be confusing. And even though we talked about wholesaling today, and we would encourage everyone to kind of have that at the ready as a strategy, that doesn't mean that has to be your starting point at all. We've trained a lot of students over the years, and I would say probably, I don't know, half of our students start out with a flip as opposed to, and I don't know that, just knowing how with our students and the feedback that we get, half of them start off with a flip, right? And then more and more over the last year, because lending has changed so much and because deals have changed a lot of students will also go right into cash flow deals, right? So don't think for a minute because we're leading with this that we say you need to start with this, because that's not the way it is. If it has to be, because some people they want to get going. Sometimes it's financially based, so it's a little easier to get in. If if you have $3,000 or $4,000 to your name and maybe you have distressed credit, a simple basic wholesale flip is a great way to get started. If you have a more robust financial worth and you are setting a little bit better on your credit, there's some great opportunities right now in doing flips and cash flow deals. So don't think for a minute that you have to get started there. I don't want you to think that, nor do I want, again, you to be afraid of seeking out other information, but just, have a little yellow flag up. Just know that it can get confusing if you're listening to, 20 different people talk about the same thing. You're going to hear a different angle. Hopefully you're hearing some commonalities, but I've seen and heard some interesting takes on some of this out there. So that was just my warning flag on that, Jeremy. Back to you, buddy.
No, that's great. You're right. Be careful of all the data. And one thing that I can say is we're in the trenches. We're doing this. So we know that, we're talking to students, we're helping students, we're doing it ourselves. So if there's these other people that made money, and I forget if Tony and I were talking about this, or maybe it was with a student, I forget who it was, but that a lot of these people did stuff made money after the bubble in 08. Well, yeah, if you made money after that, that was some low hanging fruit. I think it was a student today I was talking about, but now the market's changed, inventory's lower. So how are you finding deals now? So yeah, some of the gurus, right, made money whatever ago, but that's a different lifetime ago, right? The market in 08, that's a different lifetime. It's not even the same market. So don't compare those to this and what we're doing. So we love that we're in the trenches with you guys. We love the tough questions. We love all of those, and we're here to help you.
This question is coming from Bill. And it is, should I wholesale in my backyard? Jeremy, what say you, my man?
Yeah, I would look in your own backyard, yes, because it is in your own backyard. Right? Yes, that's one market, but we're not limited to only do it in our own backyard. So how cool is that? So you can have your cake and eat it too. So if your own backyard is so competitive, so hard, maybe the price point, what if you lived in San Jose, right? Could you still wholesale there? Yes. But look at the price point, very high. One of the most expensive markets in the US, if not the highest, San Jose, San Francisco, some of those markets, extremely high. You can still do it there, but why not look at other markets too? So that's what's great about this, is we can work from home. Yeah, we can do this from wherever. You can be on a cruise, as long as you have Wi-Fi signal. Yeah, you're in Mexico, you're traveling the world. That's what we do. We travel with our laptops because we run our business wherever we're at.
I get to use a Jeremy analogy, a Montana analogy. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
Jeremy, he doesn't have his big old bucket hat on right now, but he's an outdoorsman, hiker, fisherman, all that, right? You have to be in Montana, or if you're not outdoors person, they'll send you to another state. But the analogy of fishing, and when Jeremy is talking about wholesaling in your backyard or remotely, the beautiful thing about it is it doesn't matter if it's 2 miles, 20 miles, 200 miles, or 2,000 miles away. A deal is a deal is a deal, as long as that deal's good. And to his point about being in a very competitive market, that I've seen that stop a lot of students on any deal, right? Whether it's a wholesale deal or brick and mortar fix and flip deal. The deal that I found in Michigan was I'm from Flint, Michigan originally, and a realtor that I knew from a buddy of mine knew what I was doing, said, hey, are you, my friend is a realtor, would you like to meet him? Yeah, of course. Put me in touch with this realtor. I said, hey, I fix properties, I flip properties, I wholesale deals. Do you have anything that, for me? And they said, well, there's this deal over here. I don't know if it's something you like. It sounds like your price point is a little bit higher, because I gave them some price points of which I'm used to doing deals, and this was a lot lower. And I said, look, I don't care what the price point is, quite frankly, as long as there's comps to support it. That's what I'm looking for. And I turned this deal around quick. Once again, got in, I got out, I got paid. I didn't do anything with the deal. And when I did this, I was living in northern San Diego, even though I'm from Michigan. I left Michigan back in 1986. So I was in northern San Diego doing a wholesale deal in Flint, Michigan. So I wanted to kind of echo that point, Jeremy, and I think that's fantastic. A lot of people want to go local because it gives them a little more comfort. But again, you're wholesaling a property. You're not going to go over there. You're not going to spend time at it. You don't want to anyway because you should be looking for your next deal.
Tony, those markets are probably real similar too, right? Flint, Michigan to northern San Diego. Yeah.
But believe it or not, they outside of the beach areas, La Jolla, and Rancho Santa Fe and all that, but when you kind of got in a little bit, way back when, Flint, Michigan was booming. The auto manufacturing, everybody drove new Cadillacs and Chevys and everything else, and it was a wonderful place to grow up many, many years ago. Not so much, it's a little sad, but I'll tell you this, and Jeremy knows because he met my youngest brother years and years ago. Jeremy and I trained my youngest brother, full-time General Motors employee. There's only a couple plants left, and he's killing real estate. He did multiple deals in his first year, wholesaling, flipping, cash flow properties. He owns a number of cash flow properties, and now he's doing commercial real estate. I couldn't be more pleased with it. And it started with a conversation like we're having here today with everybody on here. Jeremy, one more question for you, unless keep them coming. Thank you, Kim. I certainly appreciate that. So, Jeremy, you ready for this one?
Yes, sir.
And it kind of goes into what we're saying a little bit, but do you prefer to wholesale or flip? And that's from, it looks like Denise.
Okay. Yeah, I prefer to flip houses just because the larger profit. So I prefer to flip properties, and it's very rewarding taking this ugly, dilapidated house and making it. When you walk in, and if it was physically there, if I walked into the house, they probably smell. Right? These houses are boarded up, empty. Sometimes people are living in it, and I've had a lived-in house where I almost threw up in it before when I was walking it. So, but how rewarding is it to take this ugly, dilapidated property and make it shine? So I like that. Do I still love wholesaling? Absolutely. And sometimes, yeah, instead of walking in a house, I would rather wholesale it, and that's what's the beauty of doing it remote. Yeah, we don't have to do there.
Jeremy, look at, and this is, I think, people ask us all the time, why do you guys do this and that kind of thing. Number one, we've been investing for a while. Number two, we enjoy coaching. Number three, we make absolutely, we don't hide anything. We coach. This is a for-profit business for us. Why? Because we're good at what we do, and people get the results from it. And people are like, the people that coach, blah blah, don't do or whatever kind of nonsense, right? And it's always interesting when we, another analogy, like whether it be in golf or a swing hitter or whatever else, everybody has a coach. And for me, being in the Marine Corps, I had mentors and coaches my entire Marine Corps career. And the reason why I bring that up is because Kim just posted a message, and we never use last names, so I'll just Kim B. You know who you are because I'm looking right at your text here, but this is what she said. She's one of our students. Definitely love you guys. Thank you, Kim, for all your training. We're going into our 7th flip and also doing some wholesaling and creative financing deals in this market. So appreciative. So that is an awesome thing, Kim. Well done. We love it. We're inspired by that, because everybody draws inspiration. Some of you draw inspiration from what we're teaching. We draw inspiration from the results. So thank you for that, Kim, because we always hear, hey, thanks, guys. And, and I run into students a year, 2 years later. I'm like, hey, what happened to you? What do you mean? What are you doing? Where you been? Well, I'm doing real estate. I'm killing it. And we don't hear some of that. So we saw that right away, and I just wanted to express that. So thank you, Kim.
Yes, thanks, Kim. Yep, we appreciate the kind words and hearing back from you.
So Jeremy, the last question we had here, unless I missed one, was do you use teeth whitener, or is that just a natural, beautiful smile?
Yeah, I did not see that question come through. That's interesting.
Oh, you didn't see it in there? I've seen there somewhere, Jeremy.
That's right. Yes. So before and after, guys, look at this.
Wait a minute, is my dude blushing a little bit right now? Hey, raise your hand if you think Jeremy's blushing. Let me tell you something. This guy, I got to get him back. You know what he normally does? He'll put some crazy stuff up and have a little bit of fun. So I got to poke at him a little bit when I get a chance. But Jeremy, I think that's about it. We're at 56 minutes. Man, time flies when you're going. And, you know, speaking of time flying, one of the things that we talked about on our last webinar, on the last hour for our advanced VIP students was, and I want to say it here too, it's May 12th, right? Everybody's like, oh my gosh, 2020, it was crazy. We're in 2021. And regardless of what's happening with gas prices, regardless of what's happening with other things going on in our country, in politics, in overseas, you know, God bless all those people that are getting bombed right now that we're not, because we live in a great country. But I will say this, there's a lot of things happening that we can't control, but you can control this. We can control what we do as trainers and coaches and mentors. We can control this. We can control our destiny, and you can too. So if you are new to this and you're looking for that oomph, you know, we always talk about your why and your purpose on why you want to get this done. For a lot of people, yeah, of course it's money, but when you kind of really narrow it down and you funnel it down, even though the initial conversation is about money, it tends to fall into, I want to do more for me. I want to have retirement. I want to, you know, provide more for my family or my grandchildren or whatever. Or I just want a break, right? I want to do something different, right? I want to fire my boss. Don't do it next week. Do it when you're making money and you're up and running. Because one thing that we always want to do is responsible but assertive investing. We want you to do it safely. We want you to be efficient and effective. We want you to be profitable. And we also want you to have a very repeatable business. So that's why we get on here. We love doing it. And we appreciate your time. And it looks like we have one more comment. Jeremy, I'm going to let you read that because I'm not going to read it. Because then people think I'm just picking on you. But go ahead. Kim made one more post, and I'll give you the last word, my man.
Okay, she goes, but I'm also getting some fly fishing and hunting in as well, Jeremy. Should I stop there or keep going? She goes, yes, blushing, his forehead is turning pink. So thanks, Kim. Thanks, Tony. Yes, no, but I'm glad you're out there enjoying it. Life was meant to be lived, and you know, you got to have fun. So that's what we love about this business is if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. You really are. So you got to have fun. Is there a grind at times? Yep. Right? Is there times you don't want to feel like doing it? Sure, that's life, but you put the work in and it's worth it.
Hallelujah, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Well, that's it for us. We will see you all next week. Remember, we're going to be talking about flipping. If I would encourage you to have a notebook, not only for the notes that we're taking, put the date down, but also throw in next week on the 19th, same time, same channel. And any questions that you have from now through the week, something may pop into your brain, something you saw on TV, something you have a question about, quite frankly, anything. Let's pop in here. I do a little bit of Dr. Phil, but we're trying to concentrate on real estate. So that's it from us. Jeremy Isles, thank you. You are a stud. Ladies and gentlemen, be blessed and be safe. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.